Hi, everybody. Let's see if I can. There we go. I have no idea where Guy is. I'm here. So, always a positive. Hey, there he is. He's just
I'm
showed
here.
up.
I'm here. I survived.
You survived?
Yeah, we were doing Geek Tank, and Geek Tank kind of ran over. But Alex was here too, so it was kind of, there was an Alex, and we were saying
Make sure
goodbye.
the door gets locked behind Alex.
She has to go lock the door to make sure that Alex doesn't leave things unlocked.
Hurry up, buddy! It's bedtime.
So, how you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
I'm okay. I'm going to swap to here so that I can have when Kayan attacks next time on Fox. Oh, and Brent looks like he's printing something. Sort of. Gosh, I gotta admit, when it's doing stuff like that, his printer sure is evil. Okay?
With the one little glowy light.
One little glowing light going angrily over there.
Rubbing itself back and forth.
Now, see, you just made it creepy.
I mean, that's what it's doing. It's on a plate that's rubbing on the plate, and it's making the plastic come out.
See, so many jokes, so little time. Yeah, Brent, we were just, making jokes about the evil printer that's rubbing itself and making plastic come out. So there's that. Oh, it's making a new Raspberry Pi case. Okay.
I prefer strawberry pie myself, but
No. Apple pie. Yeah, but
apple pie. There you go.
I'm an apple pie guy. Ooh, I don't like the tart fruits. So I actually don't like raspberries that much, and I don't like strawberries that much because they're too tart. I don't like the tart. But, well, I mean, and it's one of those things. I know that if you let those fruits mature, they're not as tart or whatever.
Staring deep into your soul.
Because I don't like strawberries? I have to reassign this because Alex was here doing the show with me. But that meant that the microphone has swung in the wrong place. Okay, hey. Oh, beloved friend of mine who's beloved and also a story writer person. I am thinking out the next issue of Bellatrix Rising, and I need a little bit of assistance.
Okay.
I'm having an Act 2 problem, which I think you probably can understand and appreciate quite well. So, I have come up with all of the. So this is, by the way, this is my normal sheet. I just put a little white thing on top of it. This is my normal layout. I just put a white thing on top of it to write on it and take notes until I figure out what the hell I'm doing. So I have all the pieces together but one, and that's the Act 2 of story or of the A plot.
Okay.
Yeah, we know what a Raspberry Pi is, Britt. We're just being horsey because it's us and reasons. Like we've got no real reason for being horsey. We're just horsey. So
I have several Raspberry Pis. I know exactly what they are. I'm just getting your goat.
Yep. Okay, so this is the layout of it was actually kind of cute this morning. I was reading all about this and reading it online, a website that I had found where he was talking about the Act 2 problem that writers have. Because you know what Act 1 is, here is the problem. And Act 3 is, we've solved the problem. And Act 2 is
things going to hell.
Right? It's like screwing up the problem or messing up the problem or whatever. And the guy had said something that I thought was fascinating. And he said, Act 2 is actually where you grow your character. You put it so that your character is in some kind of growth situation that Act 3 causes the growth. So I was like, okay.
So there's two parts to this.
Well,
Act 2, the middle section, is where they try to solve the problem but fail.
right.
So this is the first problem solved, which is also where character development can happen. It's where you can put in a lot of character personality and how they try to solve the problem. And then it goes to hell, and that leads to Act 3, which is where the ultimate solution is.
Right. Well, and the thing is that you can do that directly or you can do that indirectly. And that's part of where I am on this one. Act 2, it can be, you can have it be straight up. Like here we've got the plot of the second comic is straight up. A Commonwealth destroyer shows up and wants to dispose of the little Corvette so that they can lay claim to Moment. That's the mission statement here. The little Corvette's going to stand up to this destroyer and say no and stuff. And the solution will ultimately be that the destroyer has to leave for whatever reason. The destroyer we'll figure out. I actually kind of have an idea that the plot is going to be that Chang out talks the destroyer and the destroyer leaves. Okay, no problem. I actually kind of want to have it where Unity destroyers show up because I have a Unity destroyer model now, and it would be cool to have Unity destroyers show up with fighters and stuff like that. And as the Neil Gaiman rule goes, you write about the things that are cool. So I'm like, that's cool. Having a whole bunch of spaceships and things show up out of warp space, and you've got fighters everywhere, and that'd be cool. I'm into this plan. So that's kind of where I want to go with this. That's not a problem. But we've got to come up with the in-between part, the part that's complicated in the middle. And that's something I'm working on now with my thought process. And the thing is, I know that what we need to do is hit Chang at her daughter, because two things have happened. One, you and I have talked about Chang having a daughter that has passed away, and we've discussed it at length and everything like that. But of course, canonically in story, we have not actually put that to paper yet. So this is a great opportunity to put.
So is this for issue 2, or is this?
Yeah, this is for the second issue of Momentary Ghosts.
Oh, okay, right. Got it. We're on the same page now.
Yeah, part 2 of Momentary Ghosts. So that's where I am on this one, trying to think it through.
Okay.
So yeah.
So for this, one of the things that we can do for Act 2 is you need to build a beginning, a middle, and an end for Act 2. Yes.
I'm going to try to point to the paper here. I'm just trying to figure out how to the paper.
So how did the first book end?
It ended with the girl is. So we have to solve that problem too. That's this green side over here. That's what this green side is. The blue side is this comic. The green side is the other half, or Act 3 of Momentary Ghosts.
No, you're going too far.
That's when. How did the other one end? It ended with the end of Act 2 of Momentary Ghosts.
How did the first issue end?
With them saying Alex was speaking in a language that was very much Old English.
Okay. Have you introduced the destroyer yet?
No.
Okay. So they're still dealing with things have gone to hell.
Right.
Okay. So for the opening of this, you're in two sections. You have the planet side group that has found Alex, and then you have the space side group,
Right.
which is trying to figure what's going on. Okay. I think you should lead in to the first act, or the beginning, the first act of this middle section, to be the destroyer coming in.
Uh-huh. I've got that.
Introduce the main antagonist in the beginning of this. So when it opens, instead of opening with the away crew, leave them on the cliffhanger and go to the ship.
Right. I'm there. We've got that. So it's not the same way you're thinking it, but it's good enough. It accomplishes the goal you're looking for. We start with a flashback with Alex. She's here in Denver or Arvada, really, and then it becomes a dream, and she wakes up because somebody's speaking a foreign language in her dream, and when it was a disease. So that's maybe something that we have to get into too. But anyway, so we've already got a flashback in here, although that's not permanent. We don't have to keep this if we think that a flashback to Chang's daughter would be better. But anyway, so into this flashback, she wakes up in Med Lab, and the foreign language is battle stations, all hands man your battle stations. We're lifting off in 2 minutes. Lift off in 2 minutes. And it cuts to the little shuttlecraft, and they're bringing the shuttlecraft back, and they're recalling all the teams and everything like that, and they're tracking this incoming ship. And that's the beginning of that act. So Act 1 still accomplishes what you're looking for, but at the end of the last book, the Kittiwake is on the ground, and she's deployed everything. So there's people wandering around. So we got her landed, and the princess, the shuttlecraft, is out walking around. So we have to recall all of them and put them into space, which is what they're going to do. But we only need one panel for that. I don't need anything major. You know what I mean? Like, we just need one panel of the ship going zoom out into space, and we're in space, and that's done. Yeah. So we're into space, and then we confront the spaceship, which says, "Hi, we're here to help, but you know we're bad guys, so we're not really going to help. We're going to blow you up and then take over everything." In whatever is the amenable way that the bad guy is going to do it. Therein lies our problem in the end of Act 1. Right? So that's how one comes to a rolling end there. So they get up into space, and the bad guy's like, "Hi, I'm the bad guy, and really, we're just going to blow you up and take over the planet." We sort of set this up in the first book that the Commonwealth would love to have moment. And so this is the perfect opportunity. All the planetary defenses are destroyed, and there's no ships here except for this one little corvette. It's tactically a great place to take it, right? They can take it. All they have to do is get rid of one Unity corvette.
Okay.
So that's Act 1. And then Act 3, she had sent off a freighter before they landed. And that freighter has managed to call in reinforcements, and the reinforcements show up, and all is good. Because honestly, this little subplot is great for this comic, or for this 132-page comic, but it's not the solution to the story arc, which is what happened at the moment. And how I'm going to resolve that is that Alex is lying. So Alex starts to lie about what happened to her. Because originally I was going to have Alex tell the truth. But if Alex tells the truth to Captain Chang will report back to the Unity, and the Unity will take the most important person in the entire galaxy and take her away from my story. So So Alex has to lie. So there is going to be one scene in there where Alex goes, yeah, I lived in a city that was a Luddite city. That's it. Yeah. Oh, yeah, I was a Luddite. My mom and dad didn't believe in anything past old Earth. Yeah, gotcha. And she's lying. And then she says something to the effect of, I saw the guys with the spaceships. Yeah, they were building a big device that probably just moved the planet. She's making it all up wholesale. But since they've got nothing else to base their belief on, they believe her. So we only need one scene, and that sort of wraps up what happens in moment.
Okay, so give me a sentence to describe the beginning of this comic. What do you want to have happen in this section?
Are we talking about
general.
Act 1 or Act 2 or Act 3 or the whole comic?
We're doing the whole comic. We're starting with Act 1. So give me one sentence for Act 1.
Okay, one sentence for Act 1. A Commonwealth destroyer shows up to take moment.
Okay.
Okay, that's my one sentence. Maybe I should write that down. Actually,
I'm writing it down for you. Give me a moment.
It says it right here. Oh no, it's a Commonwealth ship.
Yeah, we're gonna go really far into this here in a moment.
I'm okay with that.
Goes up to take moment. Okay.
Yeah.
What is the middle? Give me one sentence for the Act 2.
Alex tells Chang a lie about what happened.
Okay. And now give me one sentence for Act 3.
The Unity makes the Commonwealth ship leave. And then there's an epilogue.
Okay, I don't care about that right now.
That's fine. There's an epilogue. So these are already written here.
Yes. So now we're going to go back up to the beginning. Okay? Give me a beginning, a middle, and an end to this first section. So for Act 1, with the Commonwealth ship coming in, what is the beginning for this section? What is the middle for this section? And what is the end for this section?
Okay. I'm going to zoom in. So we're only on Act 1.
Yes.
You can look at just Act 1.
And actually, I'm going to switch over my share screen.
Now, we don't want to talk about extraneous story pieces. So, like, the prologue and the epilogue are gone. So the beginning is, the beginning is get to orbit, right? The middle is confront destroyer, and the end is destroyer sets ultimatum.
Okay. So now we're going to expand this even further. Okay. So for getting into orbit, give me a beginning, a middle, and an end.
Okay. So the beginning, the middle, and the end of the scene, broken down, then would be recall crew, and then Well, at this point in time, though, I feel like the middle sequence would be working with Alex, because that's part of this is we've got like a thing with, at some point here we've got to come into the contact character.
Yes and no.
Okay, if you don't want that, and that's totally cool. There's nothing wrong with that.
No. I want to give them a reason. So they're recalling crew. Is this where the destroyer shows up?
Oh, you're right. So it shouldn't be that. It should be.
So it should be destroyer shows up, recall crew, and
Go to
then. Well, this is all the get to orbit part.
Right.
So we have destroyer shows up,
recall crew, and then lift off. Right.
So now we're doing this for the confront destroyer. What is the beginning, the middle, and the end for this section?
Okay, confront destroyer. Then it's, this one has
the destroyer hails the
QuaCk.
Unity ship.
Yeah, let's do that. Destroyer hails QuaCk. Probably a bridge scene of some sort where they discuss it.
Yes.
And then, so this would be probably a very good part for, your classic Star Trek. They hail, and then, our characters talk to each other. What do we think we can do? Well, we don't have enough weapons to fight them. This would be a bad thing.
Well, instead of having them fight, have it so that for the middle section, this is where the captain goes, I don't believe what this guy is saying. Have this guy being very fruity. Hey, we're here to help. He is lying.
Right.
And just have it where the middle section is where she stops talking to the destroyer and has a discussion with her crew and says, hey, I don't believe this guy.
Yeah, he's lying.
Something's wrong.
Section, he's lying. And then confront. It's funny. I was just talking last night about one of the things I loved about my mom as a person was she cut through the BS. So you'd say something and she'd like, she'd say to you things like, why are you afraid? Instead of, you do something that was obviously posturing of some sort.
Yeah.
And instead of her falling for your posturing, she'd go, why are you afraid? That kind of nail you right to the wall on that one. And I loved that. I mean, I hated it, but I loved it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I feel like that's a personality trait that I give Chang. So I could see, him coming in and going, we're just here to render aid. Yeah, that's it. And her going, and then, mute. I don't believe him. Neither do I. And then turn it back on. Okay, so why do you want moments so bad now? Cut straight to the chase. And I know that there are no defenses on this planet, and I'm the only ship here, and we're not even half your size. So confronting him there shows she's got tactical awareness and wherewithal. It makes her look cool. I mean, frankly, it makes her look cool. So
that's going to be the ending. The ending is the captain cuts the destroyer's bullshit and just said, and when they come back, it's, I know you're lying. What is it that you actually want? And that gets us to the destroyer sets the ultimatum, and we'll go through that section.
Yeah, that's not going to be very big. I mean, because all it is, well, you're right, Captain, but let's just talk about this. Really, you don't have a choice.
Well, there's three parts to this. So to this section, what happens? So this is definitely the destroyer says, here's what we're going to do. And now we get to go into how is the crew reacting to this? Like, so it's setting the ultimatum. Okay. What does the destroyer say to Chang? What does the captain say to Chang?
Yeah, because we have to think this one through, because we know where the end is because we want Act 1 to end on a sting, right? We need that to end on a sting of some sort. So, I mean, because that's the way it should work. So you want it to end with, there's nothing you can do, we're going to blow you up. And then, cut to commercial, so to speak. So that's where the last step is.
So this is where the destroyer says, we are going to kill you.
Yeah, we will kill you. But what starts that? Okay, I'm done with your BS. You really are just here to take moment. Okay, great. Captain's like, oh, okay. If you're not gonna want to dance, then I'm okay with that too. We'll cut to the chase. But that's one step, right?
Yeah.
I only see one step. I don't.
So I think, actually, given this situation, she cuts his bullshit and say, hey, what is it that you exactly want? And I think it catches him off guard. So does it make him angry, or does it make him double down on the lie?
That's a good question. We got a Pepper.
Hey, Pepper. So does he double down on this fruity, we're just here for aid, we're not actually, after moment?
Right. Or does he go, well, fine, if you're going to be that way,
And then he cuts the display.
I feel like
so which way does he go?
Tropey to have him go almost any direction on that one. So let's think of what wouldn't be tropey. What would be, he could be businesslike and go, okay, no problem. I don't have any problem with it. If you want to go on ahead and cut through this, that's fine.
No. Don't. You're thinking rationally. Think dramatic.
Well, that's what I'm saying. There are two options for the dramatic, but they both feel kind of tropey to me.
Okay.
Like they feel like, so I kind of, whenever I feel like there's things that are tropey, I look to see, is there a third option that's just not explored very often? Like, could he do you know what? You're right, but you're cute and let's have tea. Or, you know what I mean? Like, what is a direction that we wouldn't think to go? I don't know where Pepper is. Pepper, are you even there?
I'm here.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we're in the middle of discussing breaking down the story for my second comic. I just wanted to make sure you were connected. You can stay quiet if you wish, or you can make opinions. However,
I'm connected, but my computer is acting funky, so I can't use my.
That's totally fine. You are the disembodied voice of Pepper, and that's totally okay. Anyway, so that's where I'm kind of at what would be the unexpected turn for this for him?
So tell me about the Commonwealth. What are they like?
They're very independent minded. So there's a lot of there's very little oversight. They're given missions, and how they accomplish it, that's up to them, sort of thing. So unlike the Unity, which is very much a group and community based thing, the Commonwealth ship is very much on its own sort of thing, own recognizance, and so long as the job is done the way that they're expected to do it, they're like mercenaries. The whole military is like a mercenary.
Okay.
So, but that doesn't necessarily mean that the guy's a bad guy. He just has a mission, which is something bad happened at Moment. This is an opportunity. They need that planet. They want that planet. So they're willing to take it now. So he's gotten new orders to take the planet. And you know what? That could be his ultimatum. Could be I'll take anything at this point in time that you want to give me on this one. You can leave, you can surrender, or I can kill you.
Well, that's part 3.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's like, but I mean, like, he doesn't have to be mad or anything like that. He's just in here to do a job. And actually could be interesting because I kind of don't like necessarily the hand-wringing bad guys, mustache twirling guys.
So we need to think about one other thing.
Yeah.
And that is, your middle is Alex tells Chang a lie about what happened.
Right.
So maybe in this section, Alex is brought up to meet Chang.
And a little bit more complicated than I think physically that can't happen. So unfortunately, I don't think there's no way the character can't move.
Okay. The character can't move, that's fine.
Stuck in MedLab for the moment.
So what is the drama that happens in this section? What is the 2 parts? So how does the destroyer initially react to Chang cutting its bullshit? Does it take him by surprise? Does he shut down and just become businesslike? Or does he just cut communications for a second to talk to his crew?
Now, I've got to admit, that would be the left turn, right? She's like, let's cut the BS and get to the point. And he goes, hold that thought. I'll be right back. Boop.
Yeah.
And then that wasn't what I expected to have happen.
Yeah.
And then he comes back and he's like, okay, here's the deal. Because, like, I'm thinking from his point of view. He's flying along out in the middle of Nowheresville, and he gets a message from home base that says, your mission is to occupy Moment. Its defenses are down, and this is the perfect time for us to get in there and occupy it and stuff like that. So that's your mission. And he goes, okay. So he heads over to Moment, and there's a Unity Corvette there. And he's like, you're just going to make this miserable for me. You're going to make this difficult. You're going to make this job difficult. Okay, what's the script I'm supposed to read? Hi there, I'm here to assist you and help with this problem and probably sneakily kill you while you're not looking. And then she's like, cut the bullshit. You're here to kill me. And he goes, oh, good. I don't have to mess with this anymore. You know what I mean? Like, that would be my thought. It's almost like there's the turn. If he's like, oh, thank God, I was sitting here going through all these scripts and this is all stupid. And I can just cut to the chase and say, so do you want to bug out or should I kill you? That's probably the way I would think he's doing this. He's just here to do a job.
But I think it would actually, you could set up some really great drama where he cuts communication because on his end, he's like, oh, thank God, I can finally lay down this script. I don't have to act.
Right.
But you could actually cause some nice tense moments where on the kitty wake, they're sitting there going, why did you just do this?
I'll go communication. I like that.
And then have it so that on the kitty wake, you could then have someone questioning Chang's decision to confront it the way she did.
Right. Well, great. You pissed him off. Good job. Now he's going to kill us. Then he comes back. Oh, good. I don't have to act. Good. Yeah. Don't have to act.
So Kitty Crew sweats bullets.
Yeah. Sweats. Bullets. I like that. Oh, good. I don't have to act. We just get to kill you now. You know, which justifies whatever they're saying. So,
yeah, I love that line, and that could be a great line for when he comes back.
Yeah. Oh, thank goodness. I hate doing the acting thing. It's never done me any good anyway. I'm just bad at it. I'm just here to do a job, and that job is I'm going to take over this planet, whether you like it or not. So here's your choices. You can bug out, or I can kill you.
Yep. Okay, so we just got the opening done.
That's good. We're there. That works. I think you should Captain Hook from the new movie Hook. Hey, this is how nice to cut through all the BS you normally have to do. Okay, yeah, that kind of thing. That perfect. Yeah, I mean that's exactly kind of where we're headed on this one.
Okay, so what is the beginning, the middle, and the end for Alex tells Chang a lie?
Okay, so this gets complicated because we're going to have to wrap up the first thing, right? So what I think should happen is the beginning is, okay, but first, let's fix moment.
So, Chang responds with a compromise.
Yeah. So, because that gets us transitioned and makes her look clever. She's buying time.
Yeah.
Right. But she could say it in some way that makes some sense. Like, oh yeah, that's great. I'll bug out, but first, you know what? There's a whole bunch of people who need aid. Can we actually work together and render aid? And then I promise I'm out.
Yeah.
I don't want to fight. We don't have the weapons to do it. Yada yada yada. It works perfect. She's buying time. It all works. He doesn't know that they're in nowhere.
Yeah.
She doesn't know that there's incoming destroyers. He's not going to know that for a while. So it doesn't matter.
And he's not planning on them being destroyers.
Right. He's not
for
planning
a long time. Just the fact that he's run into this one takes him by surprise. And this is just a Corvette.
I got to make one note before we do this, which is he needs to say, don't send a mail drone. So I've got to make sure I make that note. Sorry. As in, she can't send a courier. And so he thinks he's got this under control. Right? He didn't see a courier leave the system. He didn't see any couriers in system or transit system. And so he's good. So long as she doesn't send another drone, nobody can communicate because they're, 50 light years from the Latrix. So it'll take 50 years for a signal by radio to get to the Latrix. It'll take 50 years to occupy this planet, technically.
So we're going too deep in the woods right now.
I'm sorry. I had to think it through and just say it out. We're done.
Okay,
so let's fix moment. Okay, that makes sense. So then...
so now the middle for this section.
The middle is Alex tells a lie. That's the middle piece. Or is it the last piece? That might be the last piece. We might need a middle piece. Well, we need a middle piece. That's this. What are we doing about we need to bring in something about Chang's daughter of some sort. Maybe it's prompted by Alex telling a lie.
Well, and we don't have to go into that right yet. Because Alex has not been introduced to Chang. So what is the middle section in which Alex and Chang meet? And maybe that is the middle section, is Alex and Chang meets.
Right. Well, and maybe that is. Maybe it's Alex and Chang meet, and then Alex tells a lie.
Okay.
Wait, we have one other person in here that we can use because the senator is aboard. So you know what this needs to be? This needs to be the middle section needs to be the senator and Chang, because he's the one that's going to say, "Why don't we talk to the girl?"
How about I'm going to make it a really interesting choice for you.
You're like, I'm going to screw this up.
Yes.
Yeah.
How about the senator steps in and he's the one that says, "Hey, you guys can do what you want, but I got people to rescue down here. Can we save it till after they're saved?" So maybe it's not Chang, but it's the senator that saves.
Okay. I mean, it doesn't make it. It kind of takes a little bit of the cool factor out of Chang, but that's okay. I'm okay with that. We haven't set her up to be super cool yet, so I'm good with that.
But it makes the senator more important and re-establishes him. He's politics. So in this case, he's playing the politics of, look, you guys can do whatever you want after we're done dealing with this problem. Because it's going to take both of these ships to do it.
Yeah, we need all the help we can get on the ground.
Yeah. Okay, so now what is the three parts to the senator responds with a compromise?
Well, are we just going to leave with two here? So senator fix the compromise and then Alex tells a lie?
No, because I have Alex and Chang meet in between. So I have the senator responds, I have Alex and Chang meet, and then I have Alex's white lie.
It's not white. No, we're good. We're good. So 3 parts of that. So starting with this one, breaking this one into it's not. Why am I? Oh, you've got me up in the corner where I can actually put my full monitor out. That's good. Because like that helps me too. So okay. So Senator says Senator says think of the children, of the people, right?
So this is Senator
says think of people or whatever, yeah.
Captains. Do they agree or do they disagree initially?
I think I think the only thing we would have here, because I think both captains would be like, yeah, okay. I mean, like the other captain's like, it doesn't really matter. We've got 50 years before you're ever going to get rescued. So sure. You know, he's like, whatever, I'll help people, because he's not a bad guy. So yeah. In fact, I kind of like that he's not a mustache twirling bad guy, because that's kind of a ridiculous thing. You know, I hate those, you know, I'm the bad guy and I'm just here to kill people. Ha ha ha. And, you know, but what about the people on the planet? I don't care. I'm a bad guy. You know, come on. Yeah, he's like, oh no, that's cool. We'll help that out. But I do think the conflict here, what might be between him and the senator. You know, senator, you're technically not going to be in charge of this planet anymore, right? You know, and that's where you get the senators like, you know what? They're still my people, and they're still people, and we should probably help them. Oh, okay, whatever. You know, but I think that'd be an interesting conflict because, of course, the captain's like, but they're not your people. You know.
So I have the destroyer, captain, and senator show off, or you know, they have their own fight.
And senator, cool.
I don't know why I have show up. That's not what I mean.
Conflict.
Have a showdown. Showdown.
I'm okay with that.
And
the
then
last is Chang saying, "Look, let's just do this, and you guys can compare penises later."
yeah, Chang steps in. This is where she stops the comparing of dick sizes.
Yep, I literally wrote Chang, compare penises later. Although that's going to piss off the senator, and I kind of need somebody to lead Chang to Alex. That's the problem. So
Well, maybe
that's the next scene. So we'll worry about that there.
so. Maybe in this case, this is what she gets the senator really angry, and does he storm off?
No, I don't think he storms off. I think he's just out of scene.
Well, no, you have to have some sort of transition.
Well, that's
she's stopping. She's stopping the fight. Now, what does the senator do? Does he leave, and does she follow? So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get her to Alex, because at this point the away crew is probably dragging Alex up.
I've got an idea. First of all, it's not just these 5 people, so we could actually have any other character come up and go, "Why don't you try to go talk to Alex?" But what I'm thinking is, Chang says, "Compare penises later. Go help the planet now. Why don't you prep to land on the planet and help out?"
Okay.
You know what I mean? That gets him out of the scene. He's not mad. He's just miffed. You know what I mean? Like, okay, fine, whatever. I'll go help the planet. Clears him from the scene. And then we have to have, are we all going to do this? Yes, we're all going to do this. Well, then I will see you on the ground. And, the weight turns around to go back down. During that time, then we have then we have Chang and Bennett, and this is where we have to kind of figure out a good way to shift, because Bennett's the first officer, and Bennett's like, "It is kind of weird that the planet moved, isn't it? We should fix that somehow. How are we going to fix this so it won't happen again?" And that could be I don't know, does anybody know what happened down there? And then it's like, well, we have somebody who was there,
But has she been on the ship the entire time?
Yeah, Alex is in med bay right now. Alex was brought into sick bay.
Okay.
Oh, Alex is on the ship in sick bay.
Does the bridge crew know about Alex?
Yeah, I mean, there's only 48 people on the ship, so it's...
Yes, but they just got rushed into the ship, and she's been rushed to medbay. But has anybody informed the captain?
In medbay, Bennett was in the medbay when they were talking about Alex. When the senator and Alex were there, Bennett was there. So the first officer was there.
Okay,
so you could say, well, we did pick up that girl. You could ask her.
Yeah, that works. Okay, so Bennett.
So Bennett says bad planet. And then the second part is we do have a survivor. And then that's good. And then it goes to medbay.
So I have the moment problem. Bennett suggests talking to Alex.
Yeah.
And then now what's the scene?
So, because that's the scene Alex tells a lie is one scene. It's a unit. That's entering into medbay, talking to her. All of that happens.
We're not at that point yet.
I know, but what I'm saying is Alex and Chang meet. I don't think that's there's not two scenes there, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Well, no, but there's scenes leading up to this.
Right. So my thought is the third step goes to the med bay.
Okay.
And that's how we clear that section.
All right.
Because there's no, I mean, if we were to say that this unit, this center unit here, has Alex and Chang have a scene there. The scene really technically is the beginning of the next scene. You know what I mean? You see what I'm saying? Does that make sense?
Makes sense. Hang on.
Oh, the sprinklers are on again. We've got that weird sawing noise. It sounds like somebody's cutting. No.
Just out of curiosity, have you outfitted Alex with a translator yet so she can understand Chang?
Yeah, that's the scene in the prologue. But Brian and I are concentrating on the things that aren't the prologue and the epilogue. So, but yeah, that's a good catch, Pepper.
I mean, I just want to point that out. Like, she doesn't know modern English.
Yep, she doesn't. She doesn't know Tamarbeshi, which is what they speak. There is a scene there are two scenes actually prior to Act 1's get to orbit sequence. But they're prologue. So it's not the same. So yeah. And so I was like, Brian, do we want to talk about that? And Brian's like, no, we don't want to talk about that yet. Okay. It's no problem. I'm okay with that. So
no, because right now we're trying to get the meat.
Yep. I'm good. I'm good with that. I'm good. But yeah, good catch.
You want to get to the meat, but you kind of need those important details in order for the meat to actually make sense.
Oh yeah, well right now all we're doing is building an outline.
Gotcha.
Like this is the main thrust for this comic so that it's much easier to write. This focuses you down to make those scenes work.
Right.
Yeah, I'm just a person who likes really small details to be included when you're discussing story making.
Yeah, I'm making notes while we're at it in the margins so that I won't forget the little details. So don't worry. But so like, I wish to encourage you to continue that behavior, however that comes across.
Yes, because you already told me that, or I think both of us, that you're gonna need someone that knows on how to speak her language with them too. So, I believe there's an AI unit that you said that you wanted to have that with.
Mm-hmm.
So you'll need to make sure that that AI unit goes with Chang in order to translate. If memory serves me correctly.
Okay, I figured out the first part to this Alex and Chang meet because we had a thread.
We did. And I see what you're writing. Destroyer, Captain, and Chang hash out parts. Plans. You know, it occurs to me that we could even have, and this would be interesting, if we had the captain of the destroyer say, so what happened down there? Because later, Alex is going to say it was a Commonwealth thing that was on the planet that caused it to happen. She's going to lie. And that's going to cause sort of cross-stress. You know what I mean? Like, Chang's going to start, that's going to have to be something that she's using to make her distrust the captain, the destroyer captain, right? Because like if Chang says there was a Commonwealth device that caused something bad to happen in space or whatever, because Alex is just making up stuff out of whole cloth, Chang is going to believe Alex. Alex is a Unity citizen as far as Chang is concerned.
So maybe in this case, the destroyer captain asks, okay, give me the details, what happened down there.
Right.
And Chang could be flat out straight with him and say, shit went to hell. I don't know what happened. Because they don't know what happened at this point. All they know is that Moment was gone when they came in.
Right. So that will give us a thing. It could actually be kind of a funny scene because we could have the captain go, so what happened down there? And Chang could say, we don't know. And Bennett could go, and then Chang's like, shh, just wait. Because Bennett has brain damage. So Bennett sometimes says impulsively weird things. And
yeah.
That would be a cute scene where Bennett's like, we have a survivor. And, Chang's like, don't say anything. Don't, just stop.
Down. Bad. Don't make me get the spray bottle.
Right. Time to get the spray bottle because you're being there. Don't do that. So that's good. I'm going to do that one. I'm going to just wipe this out entirely and say, Captain, what happened? Bennett. Oh, I know. It's shorthand, but I'll remember it. I just want to remember the key pieces of this. So, there we go. Okay, that's the key pieces. So the captain's like, so they can be completely civil. I actually think, there are a lot of stories about, and one of the things that does fascinate me about, say, World War II and things like that, in the middle of the war, German people or German military people and American military people working totally together to do a thing. And then they just go their separate ways, but then they end up having to fight later on, yada, yada, yada. But it becomes one of those, hey, you know what? In the here and now, we're human beings. We got to fix this problem. I actually kind of am fascinated with that. So I kind of like the idea that this is, these two ships are going to work together to help get Moment back up on its feet. And then Chang is just going to have to surrender the planet. And the captain of the destroyer is going to let her go. And that's fine. And they'll go their separate ways. And he'll accomplish his goal. She doesn't accomplish her goal, but that's okay. Superior guns, sort of giving a different feel on how superior guns work. It doesn't necessarily need shooting at each other.
Yeah.
Okay. So, cool. So that scene actually works really well because we've got, the captain saying what happened. Yeah, she does the right thing. Everybody does the right thing here. What happened? We don't know. And then Bennett's like, ooh. And then Chang's like, shut up. And then we get to
the Alex lies thing.
Yeah, then we get to Alex lies. Because see, that then can be the, I'll get back to you in a minute, cuts the communications. What are you going to say before you say it? And, Bennett's like, we have a survivor. We can ask her. She was there at the epicenter of all of this. Okay, well, tell me what's going on. So let's go to medical and talk to her. Cool. Now we're at Alex tells a lie. So the three pieces of this one are piece one is, what do we got here?
So piece one is maybe there's
captain.
Uh-huh.
Hi, I'm the captain.
Yeah, Chang introduces herself to Alex.
Yeah.
Maybe
I'm a Luddite because it's got to be Alex saying yeah, I came from a town that pretends to be old Earth. Yeah, that's it. Because that's the start of her lie. So Alex is a Luddite. And then the last one is Alex.
Kang asks what happened.
Right. What happened?
What happened on the planet side?
Yep. And Alex is going to lie here because Alex actually knows what happened, but doesn't want to tell Jen because it's not gonna. You won't believe me if I told you, sort of thing. And then it's Commonwealth built a thing that blew up. There we go. And in that way, that's her lie. She says the Commonwealth built a thing that blew up. Okay, no problem.
See, guys, you get to see all of the parts of comic making, including hashing out a story.
This is called breaking a story, if you guys are wondering. And actually is exactly what they do in regular script writing in like writers' rooms. They'll break the story. And that is they take a concept or an idea and they break it into little teeny pieces so that they can start writing up the scripts.
Okay, so what is, for this last section, what is the 3 parts? So obviously the ending is Moment is saved.
Right. Or at least stable. So the last one is right. Unity destroyers show up. Right. So that's the last piece. And
okay.
First and the middle piece on this one then is, I mean, we know that she's going to have to go back up and confront the captain, the destroyer captain, because now she's going to be like, you were lying to me. And I like the idea that, you know, she's like, you were lying. So you guys set up a bomb of some sort here on the planet. And his response is, maybe, but they didn't tell me. You know what I mean? Like, he's like,
that's
sure.
not my department.
Right? I don't care. It doesn't matter. You know, and then it's this is a political setup. And then he's like, okay, it's between your diplomats and my diplomats. I don't care. You know what I mean? Like, I kind of like the fact that his response is sure to everything. You know, she's like confronting him and saying, hey, you screwed this up. And he's like, no, my government screwed this up, but I'm here to do a job. You know, kind of like his whole thing. So, but I don't know how that fits in here.
We'll come to it.
So
maybe this first
for the end here. We've got to set up for this end. How do we set up for that end? Maybe we're going backwards on this one because I think the front one is confront.
So Kang confronts
the DD captain. I like the idea that the Commonwealth is coming across as just very brutally businesslike. but not business like comedically, like the Ferengi come up as. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, whatever, I don't care. Yeah,
Yeah, it's not my section.
they don't pay me to have morals. You know, I've got my own morals. I try not to kill my kid. You know, that kind of stuff. I don't spank my kid. Whatever.
So maybe the middle section is Alex goes, Alex helps. Because weren't you telling me earlier that there was something that Alex does to help the Unity destroyers show up?
Right. In the original script of this, or the original version of this, she was talking about, or she knew how something worked that nobody else knows, that allowed her to do something. Except that I don't feel like that fits anymore because we've cut all of that section out. Of the other script had a lot different. It was the Unity Destroyer showed up in Act 3 of the last script, and I have moved the Unity Destroyer, or the Commonwealth Destroyer, to the beginning because that gives this a good arc plot. Whereas before it was just a whole bunch of muddled storyline pieces, and I like this better because it's solid. So I don't think Alex can help at this point anymore. I think what's happened is that I think that we just have to kind of say that Chang sent off a drone and let it go and just say she did that. It happened, even though it wasn't really mentioned. We need to have the Commonwealth deity captain at the end say something like, "Touche, Captain. I hope we can meet again under different circumstances. Maybe chat over coffee."
Make it more flirtatious.
Make it more flirtatious. Okay.
I'm being serious.
I know. I actually originally had wondered whether I should make him more flirtatious as a character. And I don't know if I'm there yet. We'll see.
Well, like, I'm listening to you guys talk, and I just, like, keep picturing this guy at some point literally stopping proceedings and just basically going to saying to Chang, well, sure, we'll do this, only because it sounds like you want to date me.
Gotcha.
You know, like, he just, like, is, like, getting more and more intrigued about her. Like, I see him making more inappropriate comments as the events go on.
Okay. I may put that in. I don't know. I haven't. I figure probably what I will do is roll the dice at some point in time, and whether it's a gender that she's attracted to or not, we'll figure that out, or what race he is. I mean, he may be a Justine, or he might be Najor or whatever, so that won't fit as well. So right now I'm just kind of giving him the basics so that we can, because I think Brian's right. We'll come up and kind of, I like friendly banter. I agree. Don't worry about that one. That's actually where I'm headed with this one. But I'm trying to think of whether I'm going where Pepper's going on this one. So I actually have to ask a question. It's been a very long night, and I haven't had a bathroom break. Can I take a pause real quick and run to the bathroom and come back?
Go ahead.
Thank you.
Sure, go for it. Do what you need to do, sir.
How you doing, Kyan? Kyan?
Yo,
How are you?
I am okay. How are you?
A little sick of my computer at the moment, but okay. It's just running,
I totally.
like, it's running super slow, so if I tried to do the video, like, I wouldn't, like, I would just be frozen. So, I don't know what's causing it either. I've turned off any power suckers that I can find. So,
Hmm.
All right, I'm back. Thanks. I like the fact that I come back to Brent saying no bathroom break.
well,
Okay,
I'm sorry, but bathroom breaks are needed.
right. I did my Japanese practice with a buddy of mine. We're trying to get our Japanese back up to snuff, and so he and I have been meeting on Monday nights. And then I was a little late leaving the Starbucks and got here just in time to start Geek Tank. And then Geek Tank immediately transitioned to this, and I realized I haven't been to the bathroom since like 6 o'clock. And I was like, oh, it's getting a little long there.
Mm.
What did Bill think, Pepper, is the issue?
Well, Bill doesn't know that my computer's acting wonky yet because he's asleep.
Well, that's fine.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've only got a couple of things left for this to figure out. And by the way, I really appreciate this, Brian and Pepper, both of you guys, for helping me out on this one. I redesigned this story before I started to write it. I had a layout, but I wasn't ecstatic with it. It felt disjointed and disconnected. So I really like this one a whole lot better. This feels much more connected. And yeah, we're getting rid of a few things, but that's okay. They're not critical. And it's one of the things that I remember. What was it that somebody said that as a comic artist, you take all your ideas and you cut away everything but the important part, and then you draw the hell out of that.
Yeah.
So
we're missing the middle for this section.
We're missing this guy right here.
So we have Chang confronting the Commonwealth captain. And then we shift to moment stabilizes and the Unity destroyers show up.
Well, maybe
so maybe
pieces.
Maybe this middle section is Chang sends out a secret SOS.
Well, she already sent out the SOS. There's no way to send it out secretly because the way that the technology works in this universe, the only way to send a message is to send some spacecraft that goes in space speed. Because otherwise, you're sending a message out at light speed, which when you're 50 light years away, needs 50 years. So there's nothing we can do to send a message except to send a courier. And he already specifically said you don't send a courier. So she did send a courier. She just sent a courier in the very beginning.
So maybe the middle section is because she sent a courier about there was a problem with moment.
Right.
But she hasn't said anything about a Commonwealth destroyer, so Unity would have no reason to send destroyers in.
Warships, right.
Warships. So maybe this middle section is Alex is seeing what her lie is doing and going, let me help you. and she does something that allows them to get a secret SOS out. Because then it'll get into Alex knows a hell of a lot more about what's going on.
I'm working this one right now. I'm kind of working through it. Hang on. Because I don't know. I like the idea of Alex helping, but Alex can't let anyone know. But I like what you're saying. And I like the idea. Okay, I got it. Here's what happens. The second scene is them working on Moment. And Chang and Bennett are talking. And Chang says, honestly, legitimately, I put a call out with that freighter that was inbound. But, I mean, they're never going to know that there's a combat situation here, so they're going to send a whole bunch of hospital ships. And that's nothing that's going to help, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the units that show up are a bunch of military ships, warships. And Chang plays it cool, but the reality is she's not sure how that happened. And at the very end, the epilogue that we're not talking about, because it's an epilogue, Alex is talking to her AI that nobody can see, because that AI does not exist in our world. So that's when she goes, so what did you do to get the Unity to send destroyers in? And he's like, oh, I just signaled them and said that they needed help or something like that. Because it's okay if that AI lives outside the universe and does weird crap. But that whole scene is, why are we lying? Well, if you tell them that you've got powers that they can't comprehend, what do you think they're going to do to you? They're going to take you apart piece by piece. And he's like, oh, that's a good point. And she's like, same thing for me. If they find out what I'm doing here, then they're going to take me apart piece by piece too. So we can't tell them what's happening. And that's the lie she's protecting. And we don't say what that is that she's doing, because that's all part of that 50-episode arc. That's the big arc of Electric's Rising. So that fits. So I like the idea that this is on the ground.
So I have the middle scene being Chang is worried about ships not being warships.
Right.
Any Unity ship that shows up won't be ready for this. And
right.
She's telling Bennett this. So that's going to be that section.
Mm-hmm. And then the Unity destroyers show up, fully loaded and ready for battle.
Yeah.
So that works. And then the epilogue is this part down here.
Yeah, and we're not at the epilogue or the prologue. We're going to get to those here in a moment.
I'm going to note it down here so I don't forget.
Yeah.
AI called Unity. And that actually leads really well to that ending, because it establishes that the world cannot make that call. Right? The universe can't make that call, and the AI just broke that rule. So that starts the entire discussion between the two, where they're like, well, you did this. Yes, I did this. Well, if they find out, they're going to take you apart. And he's like, yeah, I know. That's why we can't tell anybody. Oh, okay, that's why we lied. And therefore, we've put a nice little bow on that. Perfect. Okay, good. Okay, confront the DD. Let's break that one into 3 sections for us.
We already have. So this is where Chang tells the Commonwealth captain that this was their fault. The Commonwealth captain doesn't know, nor does he care. And I think the ending is him diffusing the situation by flirting with Chang. Like, this is him using he's knocking her off guard.
Okay, I'll puts her off guard.
Puts her off guard.
I'm not sold on the idea that he's hitting on her yet.
Well, maybe he does because he knows what race she is.
Or maybe. So I mean, I'm not. I'll puts her off guard. That works.
Yep.
Because that's part of what we were just talking about. We've got to screw up Chang a little bit so that she comes from behind, so to speak.
Yeah. And maybe instead of introducing her daughter or introducing Chang's daughter to this, maybe this is where you kind of introduce Chang's race into this. She is.
That's right, because she's that special. She's from that special planet.
Ooh, the guy from that's opposing her, the one from the Commonwealth. He goes, I'm only really doing this because I don't know, but do you have one of these? And shows a barcode.
Right.
Like right on his collarbone, like very suggestive, like.
Well, he doesn't even have to. He can go, well, we're of the same breed, or something like that. It could be anything.
Yeah.
He could say, we're the same breed. You can try to pretend, but in the end, you're being sold for money anyway. So don't talk to me or whatever. He can come up with whatever. I like that because that puts her off guard too. It still does the same job of putting her off guard and messes.
But it also introduces. It's the first time you've really introduced what Chang is.
Mm-hmm.
And
good job.
And like you can go into her background and her history, and that's all really important stuff. But I think in this case, this is where we as an audience are starting to learn about Chang.
Right. Yeah, it doesn't need to be detailed. There's stuff about Chang. Cool.
Yeah.
But she's got a barcode. He knows it. Whatever. That works.
Mm-hmm.
You've got a barcode. I'll figure out what that means.
Question is how would he automatically know that she has one just by looking at her?
Right.
She has been, according to the discussions that I've had with Guy, she has been genetically altered
to look small and
look childlike and very, very young because of.
But that doesn't necessarily mean translate. Like if he can't figure out her age, he doesn't know if she's 20 or 40.
Right. But she's a captain, so she's probably not 20. You know what I mean? But I mean, it's one of those things that he could do you're very small. You look very young. I can only guess that you're from that one planet. So, you can talk to me later, but you've got a barcode now or whatever. You know what I mean? Like he can make the deduction. It'd be kind of like, you could see somebody doing the same thing where it's like, it's 1820 or something and the captain's black and on an American ship. You could say, you're black and you're on an American ship, so you probably came from a world with chains. You know what I mean? And that would hit. Yeah. That would land. And it didn't even matter where it landed. Whether they were a free man to begin with or not, everybody who was black at the time would have been in chains at some point. So, that would still land. And so he could be there. He could say something or do something by making an assessment, So I like that. Hitting there. I'll think it up. When we get to that scene. I'm not worried about that part. Figuring out how to make the writing work is good. This is the hard part. Trying to break the story is hard. Okay.
So now we're on to Chang.
She doesn't like him. She doesn't like that captain at all. Which is cool. So this is probably all a scene with just Chang and Bennett.
Chang, Bennett, and Alex. Have Alex be the fly on the wall.
Any
She doesn't say anything.
Otherwise, Alex wouldn't know if there's a problem.
Yeah.
That's a good point. So it's got to be Chang, Bennett, with Alex as a fly on the wall.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
And then
otherwise, we should know.
Yeah.
And hates the captain.
Alex hates the captain?
He does. So the first scene is I hate the captain, or the first section is I hate the captain.
Okay.
Second section, because the last section is I didn't tell the Unity about the Commonwealth.
Make that the middle section.
Okay.
So the middle section is, so the first part is Chang saying, hey, I don't like that ship captain. I don't know if we're going to be able to work very well together, but we'll give it a shot. And then the next section is, even if we save everybody, Unity is only going to send hospital ships here. They're not going to send warships, which means that the population is probably going to be held hostage when...
by the time anybody can get here.
Yeah. And then the third section is that's when Alex ducks out.
I don't think she's going to duck out. The AI is going to operate without her. Because the Alex didn't know about that until that last scene.
Well, no. This last little bit is where Alex goes to talk to the AI.
The AI sees through her eyes. So the AI is really freaky. And that's something we will learn as the story goes on. Her AI is it's a ghost.
Oh, wait a minute. I know how to end this scene.
Okay, good.
Alex asks where the restrooms are. And that gets her out of the way so that she can talk to the AI and gets her out of the scene. And then Chang and Bennett can go back up to the bridge to deal with saving and stabilize, doing what they originally went with the Commonwealth captain to do.
Mm-hmm. So,
and they're starting rescue operations.
That's what I'm trying to say. The AIs in the world and the AIs in the universe here, the culture, are a different creature. So you and I are two different people. This AI is different, and that's part of the whole thing. So it actually exists in Alex's mind. So
yeah, but what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get Alex out of the scene. So it doesn't matter what it is. She's going to look for privacy, so they aren't going, why are you talking to yourself? Because it doesn't matter what kind of hoopla happens in the background with her.
Oh, yeah, no, it's totally fine. Except that the AI made the decision by itself. Alex didn't tell us to do it. Because that's the end scene, is them sitting in the little room, in her little room, the VIP quarters, and the AI and her going, so what did you do? And he's like, oh, I just summoned the Unity.
Oh, well, maybe that's the last scene. The last scene for this section is Chang telling Bennett to show Alex to her quarters.
Oh, yeah.
Because Alex doesn't have quarters at this point. She's just in the med bay. So now you have a good flow for when she's in her quarters.
That works.
And then Chang goes back up to the bridge to resume operations.
Gonna get ugly. You know what needs to happen? Oh, and this is a point because there's stuff that we're going to have to add to this, but this is an important point on agency. Alex is over 18 or over 13. That's something I've been wanting to put in here somewhere, and this is a great place for it, so remember that. Because we've got to give the scene in the next episode. We have to have the scene where Alex joins the crew officially. In order to join the crew, you must be over puberty, which is your provisional age, but below age of maturity, which is when your frontal lobe finally settles in. So those are two different phases for a human. And so we have to have some throwaway line somewhere where they say, okay, Alex, you're obviously old enough to make decisions for yourself. So make a decision for yourself so that later we can come back to this. And so I need to put a coat hanger on it effectively.
Yeah.
So I can put a hook in here later on. Okay. So now we've set up, though, because that last scene is show Alex to her quarters. It's going to get ugly. Actually, probably what it's going to be is, Alex, do you want to stay here on the planet or do you want to stay with us? Either way, looks like it's going to suck. And Alex is going to, I'll go with you guys, sort of thing. So that's sort of where it's going to be. And then it's, okay, well, then show her to the VIP quarters because it's about to get ugly. And, stuff like that. So that's good. That'll be a good transition to the final showdown here. Somehow, though, now that I've done this, I've got to get the kittiwake up into orbit again.
Well, maybe that's when Chang goes to confront the Commonwealth captain. Maybe she's already taking the ship up into orbit at that point. No, actually, she's already in orbit because that was get to orbit back in the beginning. Was liftoff.
Well, yeah, well, it was, but then I assumed that they all went back down to the planet. So the destroyer can't land, but the destroyer has a whole bunch of shuttles. So the destroyer dispatched shuttles, fighters, things like that. The kittiwake's smaller and only has one shuttle. So, and that's the princess. And so the kittiwake can put the princess down, but usually what happens with corvettes, they've got wings. So they actually can enter atmospheres, unlike the destroyer, which is too big to get into the atmosphere. So it puts ships down and has stuff.
They haven't gone back down. They're still up in the orbit.
If at the end of Act 2, I'm just looking where people are. We started Act 2 with, the senator says everybody should go down and help the people. And they agree. So, okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah, because then it's, now wait a minute, what kind of game are you playing here? Right?
Yeah.
And so still holding up in orbit and confronting and facing off. So we need to make sure we put that up there. Don't land. Because I think that's I think what would be good there is a scene where Chang's like, well then, I guess I'm not going down to the planet. And then the captain can say, who's comparing penises now?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, because she's going to sit there and face off with a destroyer in a much smaller ship.
Yeah.
And like, so who's saber rattling now? Who's comparing penises now? I'm going to put that down there. Who's comparing penises now? I love that we've got penises in this. This is okay. Not gonna land. Okay. Here. There we go. The words are getting smaller over here. Okay, cool. That helps because now she's still, but now we've got another problem, which is, see, that was how I was going to get her to be with Alex.
Get who to be with Alex?
Chang and Bennett, because if they're down on the ground, it makes sense that Alex goes with them. Let's look at all the things. Here's Alex going, here's a tour of my house. Here's a tour of the streets I grew up on. Oh, whatever. I'm just making stuff up. But you know what I mean? Like, it made sense then that she would be with Alex. Otherwise, Alex is still in Medbay. So there's no reason for Chang and Bennett to go back to see Alex at this point, for Alex to be a third-party observer. So my question kind of balances on two things here, which is, one, we can come up with a reason why they need to be talking to Alex in Medbay, or two, it could be another character. I could have them talking to Mayrel, and then the three of them talking about it, and Mayrel's just observing because, like, she's waiting to go down to the planet or whatever. She's the pilot.
Or what if they never led Medbay? Like, this is Chang.
They wouldn't be having a conversation with the destroyer captain from Medbay.
Why not? She finds out information and she
gets mad. The button that says, "Click, give me the other ship." Kind of like in the Star Trek way.
Yeah. And so Alex would have observed the entire thing, and then after she gets thrown off guard and they shut down communications, that's when she starts musing about, okay, this is really bad.
Right.
And so then it saves everything.
Right.
Can I just say that there's another thing that you guys may not be thinking of?
Plausibly? Go for it.
Chang realized Alex lied?
No, Chang's not going to realize. She's going to choose between the two. She's going to choose Alex over the destroyer captain. It's going to help.
Yeah, I understand that, but Chang's also smart enough to have a suspicion.
Sure.
And if she's on the planet with them, she's observing her as she's talking about, like, making stuff up. This is where I grew up. This is where my house is. Blah, 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 blah.
Oh, yeah. No, I was just...
can totally understand and then harken back to the first time that of what she said about the incident and realize, nope, for a fact, she lied about everything.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So they're no longer on the planet.
Right. But if they take her back down and she has to do all of that, it would be because Chang would checking her suspicion.
Right.
Maybe that's the third comic. Is where Chang begins to find out that Alex lied and begins to figure out what Alex is.
Down the road, as time goes on, there are 50 episodes in here or so of Bellatrix Rising. By about episode 40 or something, we've started to piece together this lie. But this is episode 1, so we don't need to piece together anything. So the truth is, you're absolutely right, Pepper. It's, right, the hologram lets it out. You're absolutely right, Pepper. We don't want her on the ground because you're right. If Alex were to give them a tour of her city, it'd be clear that Alex is lying because her city is Arvada, Colorado.
Right.
City. And once they figure out that it's not really, whatever Luddites enclave on Moment, but rather an actual town that actually existed 200 400 or 500 years ago and hasn't existed since then things are going to start becoming but her way of covering up why she speaks Old English is that she grew up in a Luddite community. We've already sort of set up that there were these communities on Moment which didn't want to get involved in, and so she's going to say that they were cosplayers or whatever. She lived in a Renaissance festival village, effectively, and that's how she's going to get around them thinking or figuring out what she's doing. And I mean, if you were to meet somebody who, I don't know, spoke Latin as their primary language, and when you confronted them, they said, "Oh, well, this was I was part of an ancient church traditional thing or whatever." The first thought that would go through your mind would not be, "No, she was secretly transported through time." You know what I mean? Like, you're willing to buy that. That's a much more reasonable belief than.
I'm naturally suspicious of that type of behavior.
Well, yeah, but I don't think Chang is. Chang isn't hot on supernatural, so she would buy that. And especially if you said, and everything was blown up by the Soviets. This was 1985, and you said everybody, but the Soviets blew it all up. You'd be like, yeah, I'd buy that. Be cognizant and aware that we can see your screen before you go too far into that comic there, Can.
Huh?
Be cognizant and aware we can see your screen before you go too far into that comic.
Oh, okay. Sorry about that.
That's all right.
Let me switch back over.
It's all good. It's all good. Yeah, so, I mean, my thought is, as long as she can make a convincing enough lie, Chang will buy it over the truth, which is that she's been transported in time. That lie is going to, right? Still could be blown up by Soviets. You're not wrong. Let's see here. I'm going to do this. That way I can go to can attacks. There we go. So anyway, yeah, I'm with you, Pepper. But that's why we can't take her down to the planet, because then she would be obviously exposed. So of course, the truth of the matter is, that entire area has been leveled. That was the stuff that was on fire in the last comic. So she could say anything. Yeah, this burned wreckage was my house, and that burned wreckage over there was my car. Oh, you don't have cars. Space thing? You know what I mean? Like, she could make up stuff because there's so much burned wreckage, it wouldn't matter. If you were to show up in Sarajevo in 1991, you could say your house was any of them. They were all rubble at that point in time. Anywhere in Afghanistan, So, okay. So the last 3 sections, and we are done. So, the Unity Destroyers show up as the last 3 sections. So battle stations is probably step 1.
Are they going to fight, or are they going to... Because Chang knows she cannot take on a destroyer.
Right. I think we need to have the discussion of, do we surrender? What do we do to, I mean, is she going to give up Moment? The senator and her need to have a discussion about that.
Okay.
So that's probably it. Senator and Chang give up Moment, right? Because we got to talk about that. Is Chang going to blow up her ship to save Moment? Is that the battle plan? Is Chang going to just walk away, leaving Moment to the Commonwealth. Dignitary on board. You can't shoot at me. We have an ambassador on board. Don't let my go over as well. Hey, who knows? They might though. Because that's a good question. That's like that's the question.
Well, I think in this case, Chang would start talking protocols, and her protocols would be that her crew would come first because she would have no hope in this fight. So she wouldn't just recklessly throw away her crew to save a planet. Yeah, because all that would do is they'd be dead and the planet would still fall.
Right.
And maybe that's how she approaches the senator with it, in which it's like, I can't do anything. If I fight him, he destroys the ship and Moment is taken anyways.
Right. Well, and here is the question of where Chang has to make her growing point. Right? We've been talking about this for a while, right? Because, I mean, this is not what we're doing, but hear me to the end of this thought process here, because we're not going to do this, but we should do something like this. This would be where she goes, fine, I guess we will have to sacrifice ourselves for a moment. Then the Unity destroyers show up and she goes, oh, well, that was weird. But she has to make that decision. You know what I mean? For the growth of the character or for the movement of the character, have the character move forward. That's not the decision she has to make. I'm just saying something like that. You know what I mean? Like, we have to come up with whatever it is so that when the Unity destroyers show up, it's a reversal of whatever commitment she's made to herself.
Well, maybe she's starting to leave. Like, she's from her end of the promise of, we're bugging out. She's starting to bug out.
Mm-hmm. Seems not very heroic. My way is not very sportsmanlike.
But remember, she's only in. She cannot take down this big ship.
No, I'm with you. I'm with you on that. I completely.
This is the Jean-Luc Picard moment in which he goes, you can do all the right things and still lose.
Right.
That's not weakness, that's life.
Right. But she needs to be on her toes, because the scene that I see, this last scene, is her going, yeah, I meant to call all those destroyers in. You know what I mean? Like, she's on her toes on that one. So she can tell off this captain that she doesn't like. You know what I mean? Like, a personal victory over the captain is her doing that. And then we cut away to the captain leaves, and then she goes, well, I don't know how the hell that happened.
No, I got it. She goes, she tells the captain of the destroyer, I have one last surprise for you. And the panel shows her going to press the fire button like she's firing torpedoes. And that's when all of the destroyers show up, the Unity destroyers.
Well, okay, but now we're back to she's committed to killing herself.
No, not quite. Not quite. You can explain it as the senator, or the one that basically has more authority than her on the ship, ordered her to do it.
Yeah, but I'm still back to, I agree with that, but I'm still back to what Brian said, which is true, which is, why would the senator just commit everybody to sacrifice themselves? Even the senator's not that dumb. You know
right.
what I mean?
But is there anything about the character itself that would have led Ryan to actually think that way about as a possibility? Is there something about this character's like core being that would actually make him sacrifice rather than lose a ship and a
Right.
planet?
That's the only thing I can think of is we've got to come up with. I think what we need to come up with is a paper tiger cleverness thing that Chang comes up with that's stupid, but she thinks will work, and instead
Maybe
destroyers-
maybe it's something she knows about the destroyers, the Commonwealth destroyers. Maybe they have like a weak engine,
or
and if
something.
she can get a first strike on their engines and disable their engines, then that would give them a chance.
That actually fits.
Yeah, but I mean, because it's not going to destroy the ship, and if we're sneaky, we can get this one shot in. And of course, Bennett's like, well, okay, but then what? Now you're just never really a mad destroyer there. And she's like, I don't know. We'll come up with that when we get there, or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, it's not enough to win the battle. I feel like that's got to be important. It's got to be important that she can't win the battle. There's no way she can win this battle. She's just postponing it. And so I like that. We had long-range transmission that states we are here to welcome new beings and feast here. What? I'm not sure where you're going on this one, Donald. I've lost you there. Sorry, bro. Yeah, because I agree with what you're saying, but whatever it is, it can't be an obvious win, right? She's not. Oh, gotcha. I see. Name drop some popular Commonwealth leaders' names. What about Joe Smith? Joe Smith told me that you can't have this, but you can't bring up Joe Smith. He's a senator. He's a Commonwealth senator. That doesn't happen. Whatever. I don't know. Well, whatever it is, we will call it Chang's, because I'll think of it in a minute. Chang's weak Corbomite maneuver. Oh, man. Even better. Even better. It's the Corbomite maneuver. But Bennett's like, he'll see right through that. And she's like, well, that's all I got. What do you got? Bennett's like, nothing. Okay, well, then we'll do the Corbomite maneuver. The Corbomite maneuver being that particular episode of Star Trek where Captain Kirk, being faced off with that huge ship, says, call Starfleet Command and tell them that we're going to have to activate our Corbomite device, and it will render this entire area completely unlivable for 700,000 years or whatever, and we have no choice. And transmit that now. And then Spock's like, we have no such device. And of course, Kirk then says, they don't know that. So I like the idea that she does the same thing. She's like, broadcast that we're going to have to use our Snurgleblatt bomb, and it'll render everything unusable. And then it's like, they won't buy that. That's like the oldest trick in the book. And she's like, it's all I got. I like that one, because then she's like, then you can have her doing the reach for the fire button. You know what I mean? Like, don't make me push the Snurgleblatt bomb. And he's like, okay, Captain, and I know that you don't have a Snurgleblatt bomb. Don't even mess with me on this one. She's like, I will. I'll push the button. And then the ships show up.
Yeah.
That's good, because then it would be like that was what the button did.
That makes sense.
I like that. That's good, because that gives this like a nice little like funny twist to it, that she's trying to be clever. She's tactically clever. She is in a bad situation. She's coming up with a plan. The plan's not going to work. Nobody's going to believe this plan. Right? We'd like to honor your captain with a banquet. Let's do parlay. I demand parlay. There is no parlay, Captain. Either you leave or I blow you out. Okay, good.
Instead of parlay, you should say it's a giant parfait.
Right. Then the DDs show up. Good. Thank you, guys. We did it.
Yay!
That's a breakdown. We broke the script in time.
And now you can work on the prologue and the epilogue.
Yep. Prologue's already written, so that's not a problem. The epilogue pretty much writes itself now, which is fine.
Yeah. But you could see why I wasn't interested in working on those two parts. Because they weren't
They
were important, but they weren't what you needed.
Right. There we go. Who gets a face guy? The galactic version of Axel Foley. God, I loved Axel Foley. I'm not fond of no man in the tailpipe. I like this too because this is good. She still looks cool. She doesn't look like, she's like, we can't abandon, because she's like, we'll just leave, and then the senator's like, you can't just leave. This is my jurisdiction. These are my people. I'm responsible for them. You can't just leave. And she's like, well, plan.
It also brings in the character's backstory a bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You should also, when the backstory is mentioned, you should probably have one of the crew members that never knew about it kind of like, what the hell did we just get told? Like one of those moments.
Did we just say that we had a bomb on board? What? Yeah.
Yeah. like one of the people that's under Chang, like their whole society is against genetic modification, and that causes now new problems on the ship.
Yep. That worked. Anyways, we got a lot of good work on here. Thank you very much, Brian. Thank you, Pepper.
You're welcome.
I appreciate
You're welcome.
all the help on this. That was a better break than I had. I was breaking it down a different way, and I like this one a whole lot better.
And I got one panel drawn.
Yeah, but you were working on this. You helped me out.
Yeah.
You helped me break it. That's good. So the Momentary Ghosts episode is solely a establishing the world episode. So there was no, all the other episodes in this were written out in one way or another and are, as Tamerlane episodes, or at least a lot of them were. So there's a full beginning, middle, and end to everything else. This one doesn't have the little moral start that I usually have. Like, I've got this idea. What if we did this with the transporters? Or what if we did that with the hollow fields or whatever? And this one didn't. So it was harder for me to break. So I appreciate the help.
Yeah, you're welcome.
We were discussing things, and it's interesting. I have a very interesting concept that the situations are the bad guys, not the people. Right? So I really like the idea that the Commonwealth Destroyer Captain's just here doing a job, guys. Just doing a job. He's not a bad guy. He's just doing his job. Because those are much more interesting and kind of darker in my book. You know what I mean? When you've got an honest to goodness bad guy who's evil and mean, then it's easy. You can go, okay, that makes sense. I totally get that. when it's just a guy doing his job, and unfortunately that means we got to kill you. I'm sorry. You know what I mean? Like, that's harder. That gets into that kind of gray, dark area of like where the Germans were in World War II, and you know what I mean? Like, ugh, it's a darker, grittier, uncomfortable place. Yeah, and I like that one better. That's a space I like better. So thank you for indulging me on the no, the captain isn't the bad guy, and so we're going to make that captain be like all business. He's just here to do a job. He might like her, and I don't mind the idea of what I don't mind the idea of him going, okay, that was clever. I kind of like you, or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, I don't mind that.
Yeah.
Sure. But
I like the idea of him mentioning something that for her would be a personal thing that she hides.
Yeah.
That he goes, oh, and by the way, I know about the barcode on X area.
Right.
And her just getting a wide-eyed expression of,
how'd you know that? Yeah, or something to that effect, something where he's just getting under her skin. You know, and maybe he even says, "I'm sorry, I'm just trying to get under your skin because really, I just want to get this job done." You know what I mean? Like, even then, it's kind of
no, don't have him say that. Have him do what he does. Cut the communication off, and just have her reaction of just stunned silence. Like, that was his goal, and that's all he's gonna do. It makes him come off as an asshole, but he got the effect he was going for. And don't have him apologize for
it.
You also establish his race, which you hadn't done before that.
Yeah, no. I'm with that scene. The scene's fine. I just don't know whether he accidentally reveals something or whether it's not a secret, but she's now annoyed by it. You know what I mean? Like, there's a number of ways we can handle this. I agree with the scene. The scene is fine. I'm trying to figure out how the characters are playing it out. Because I agree with what you're saying. What you're saying is totally spot on. I'm in. You know, he says something about her race or her, I guess, culture. It's not really race, it's culture. He says something about her culture that makes her mad. But I don't know whether it was inadvertent or not. I haven't decided. I'll have to decide whether it was inadvertent. Like, does she keep it hidden? Does she keep it, you know, if she doesn't keep it hidden, then is it cultural differences? Like, if I just happen to use the wrong verb ending in Japanese, I can insult you if you happen to be not my buddy, right? Could it be something like that just communication between the two cultures doesn't work? You know, like, what's in there? What's in that thought? So I'm going to think about that. I'll brew on that one. I don't have to worry about it tonight. We've done our bit for King and Country. This looks beautiful. We'll hit this tomorrow morning at 9, and I'll be on it, doggone it, to start breaking it into smaller pieces and putting it on the actual chart, this chart, which is its next step. It's going to move here. Because that's his next job. We'll break that, what we got, into pieces so we know how big of a... So Donald's talking totally about, Donald's talking about Malloy, having a Malloy on board from Oracle. So, okay, guys.
Well, I gotta get going because it's after midnight.
We gotta all go to bed. So I will
catch you later
in the morning. Thank you again, Brian. Or Ken.
Bye.
I'm working it. I'm working on it. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.